What's up? What's up, everybody? Jake was here
Hello.
talking about his dinner plans, having fun as always. But guys, thanks for hanging out. This is the like a reseller chat live. We love doing this, hanging out with the community. Jake, how's it been up in New York City, man?
We are awaiting a tremendous snowstorm.
Jake, how's it been up?
Oh man, hold on. Let me pause that. There you go. Okay, sorry. We are awaiting a tremendous snowstorm, which is bound to hit us with about 18 inches of snow.
Nice. Chris was here first, telling us to be on the lookout for is Daisy still awake? Okay. I was like, Nana Tink in the house. Nana, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna charge you. Your Tinkerbell's on its way. If it gets there late, it's because
The post office.
we know what's going on with the post office.
Yeah.
Carl Bach said, prime time. Who's prime time? Guys, you'll get to know that in just a second.
Oh,
Dory hanging out. Dory, good job on Instagram. She was showing all the baby Yoda she found. Walgreens score. Great job, Dory. But yeah, there's Marrakech hanging out. What's up, Luis? Guys, this is a fun show. This was a fun connection. What's up, Josh? Thanks for hanging out, buddy. But yeah, this is just a fun opportunity that we get to just hang out and chat with people. Got a great guest tonight, Jake. What do you say? Great guest?
I think he's one of the best.
Hands down, man. Like just looking over some of his stuff. I've been catching up on it. And the guy's like crushing it. My wife, she was just in here helping me pack up orders. Mrs. Flips, thank you so much. Guys, she gets to go full-time in 3 days. 3 days. Full-time reseller. I love it. But I don't want to make them wait too long. We got some people jumping in the chat. Jake, are you ready?
Drum roll.
Another interview of a lifetime. Everybody in the chat. Annie, Marie, Luis, you guys give it up for Dominic, prime time treasure hunter. What is up, man?
Hey, what is going on, man? How you doing? Thanks for having me on the show. It's going to be a fun time. I'm glad to be here, and thanks for everyone who's in the chat who came by. I appreciate it.
Definitely, man. So I asked Jake how New York was. How's New York, man? You're a little bit further north, so
A little bit, a lot of it.
It's funny hearing about Jake getting 18 inches of snow coming at him, because that's normally what we're dealing with here in Syracuse. We're usually the ones dealing with all the snow, and people from downstate are like laughing at us. So it's rare that we get to do it the other way around.
Yeah, you know what? There's a reason I live further south.
Yeah.
Because if I lived further north, I don't deal well with cold.
Well, yeah, but I used to live in Buffalo, which was 2 hours west of where I am, and that's even worse. So it's rough. It could be rough sometimes, but fortunately, it's been pretty mild the last few years and this year so far.
We're gonna shut down probably for a day.
What are you talking about, man? Down here in Virginia, we're stressing over 2 inches of rain. So
yeah.
They were like,
rain is
flurries for 30 minutes, and people are just like, there's no bread, water, anywhere. It's all gone.
Yeah.
Toilet paper? You have toilet paper? Because I'm running low already.
Toilet paper. Listen, my wife, Mrs. Primetime, loaded up on so much toilet paper when COVID first hit that we have a 5-year supply. I think toilet paper.
You lucked out. I only buy necessities, man.
Man, when she would score some of those toilet paper bundles, whenever she'd find them, it was like she hit the lottery. It was hilarious.
You should put an Instagram post every time
No.
She wanted me to keep it secret, so I'm probably going to get in trouble now if she's watching this.
I know what Dominic's doing. That's his void fill in all of his boxes. He's just putting wads of toilet paper in there.
Yeah.
He goes, what? It's helping out the community, and it's keeping my products safe. I like it.
It's true.
But yeah, Dominic, introduce yourself to anybody who may be in our chat that hasn't got to meet you. How long you been doing this? How long you been in the YouTube game, reseller game? You have such a good influence out there, but introduce yourself to everybody, man.
Thank you very much. My name is Dominic. As you can see below there, I go by the Primetime Treasure Hunter. The people who know me are probably sick and tired of hearing the same story, but for those of you who are new, I will try to give you the Cliff Notes version of it. But basically, I started reselling technically as a teenager when I would resell my comics at a local. Basically, it was like a outdoor flea market, essentially, and we just set up there on the weekends, have fun. We weren't buying the books to resell them. We just happened to have extras, and we're just setting up, had fun doing that. Then, when I went to graduate school in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and over Southeastern University, my wife and I went down there. And she would come along with me to a mega outdoor flea market called the Swap Shop. This place was enormous. And this is right around the time that eBay came out. This is around 2000. And we had a blast just going there, picking up things for 50 cents, $1, whatever, things that just caught our eye that we thought looked cool. We'd take it back. We'd list it on eBay. eBay was an auction site back then. There was no such thing as buy it now. And we had times where we hit like big time scores, and then other times where we thought we found something that was amazing and then brought it home only to find out that, 20 other people had it listed for, about the price we were thinking of selling it for. So we learned a lot from that, and really, developed an eye for things. There was, no such thing as an app to go check comps when you're out there. You wish they had that kind of thing, but they didn't. So we learned a lot from that. And, we did that for like say 4 or 5 years, and, made some good money on the side. Then I went on to pursue my career. I work a full-time job as a neuropsychologist, and developed my career and built that up. And then basically, once I got to like mid-career point, I was trying to rebuild my comic collection from when I was younger, which I stupidly sold to get a Sega Genesis back in the day. So my kids were mad at me for doing that, and I kept trying to rebuild it and buy it back. And so I started to get in touch with people from the comic community more, and I started to learn how much money there was in comic book flipping, if you could buy collections by the bulk. So I started doing that. And then I started getting back to my old eBay days and started, just getting other things too. Really like a lot of vintage and collectibles types of things. Not all comic. Then started selling those things in addition to the comic books, and going to estate sales, garage sales, flea markets, rummage sales, all those types of things. And really began to, bump it up big time, like more intensely than ever. And I'd say that's been about the last 3 years where it's been on a real intense level. So I've been doing it for a long time. Started a Facebook group, which you just joined today.
Yeah.
Thank you. The Facebook Reselling Resource Center. That's been about 2 years. We've got about 23,000 members in there, and started the YouTube channel around the same time, about 2.5 years or so, and just hit 20,000 subs this year on that. So thanks for all the support. A lot of people here in the chat are subscribers, so I appreciate that. And I'm also on Instagram, so not doing so hot there. I got like 7,000 people there, but I still post there a lot. It's hard to keep up with all the different
it is
social media venues, but that's basically the nuts and bolts of it in like a few minutes.
There we go, Wendy. And yes, guys, if you're more familiar with Instagram, you have a link tree on there that'll get to your store.
Yeah.
It'll get to that Facebook group. It'll get to everything. So that's super, super good, man. Dude, I'm going to tell them the story of guys. There's a ton of YouTubers, especially in 2020. Seems like it blossomed quite a bit. I was one of them. I learned a little bit last year, jumped into the game this year. And then COVID hit. That was so much fun. But then I turned to this community and learned a lot. And I'd seen Dom here and there. I saw some videos. I knew instantly he was a comic book guy. But
look at his background. What, you can't tell he's a comic book guy? Come on.
I know. But since it's not my forte, guys, you've seen, if you've been following my channel, I bought a shed. That was a decision. We were like, storage unit, shed. I went on YouTube and I go, well, I want to make a shed video. Who's made a really good shed video, and who shows up? Primetime Treasure Hunter. And dude, you did so good. You showed your layout where the shelving was going to go, the space you needed, what size you needed for storage. And I had to think through a lot of that stuff, and we're still in the process of getting it finished. And then the next thing I know, Kat goes, and we're going to have Primetime Treasure Hunter hanging out in our show, and Kat shows right on before ours. And I was like, man, this is such a small world. And then I, reached out to you, I think in Instagram, and Dude, you've been so humble in helping other people, not just with eBay or reselling, just in YouTube and stuff, man. I actually heard from a reseller, and I'm going to see if you know this person, maybe by name. They said they ran into you at a thrift store. They were just getting into reselling. And they said they were going to reach for something, and somebody else was being a little aggressive with them, and you showed them so much kindness. You were like, hold on. And you kind of like blocked for them. Do you know who that is? They're a YouTuber now with about 2,000 subs.
Was it Emily?
It was Emily Conway. Yeah. She said, I don't know if he knows this, but I ran into him because I didn't say anything.
Well, it's a funny story. I actually don't remember it, but Emily told me about it at a later point. I had Emily on my channel. She's also from Syracuse.
Yeah.
And so we got to talking through that connection, and she told me the story afterwards. And she's like, I think I met you at one point. And she, because for those who don't know, I mean, I'm a pretty tall guy. I mean, I'm 6'6", 250 pounds. So I'm hard to mistake for somebody else. So probably it was me who she saw, and the story's probably accurate. I mean, not too many people look like me and stuff. So, but that was nice of her to say. I'm glad that I didn't do something bad, because then, that would have come out. So,
big time.
You never know who's watching. I'd always say that.
But she still remembers that, because she was like, she had kind of seen you on YouTube, but she said to see, that was her first like interaction seeing another reseller. So not That's just cool. Because of, who you are with your influence. She said just the fact that you were like, hey, there's enough for everybody. Let's be kind. Let's be, it made a big impact on how she was going to treat other resellers and stuff like that, man. And that says a lot about people's character, man. And I do appreciate that. I appreciate that a ton.
Yeah. It's funny. I kind of laugh sometimes, like when I do a lot of estate sale haul videos, and I try to get there as early as I can to get on like the list or something like that, if they're running a list or if they're handing out numbers. But it's practically impossible for me to get number one. But I usually could get it on the first wave. Not always, but it's funny because I'll sit back there and I'll just watch and kind of observe, and I'll see these people who just, cram into the very front and try to run into the house like it's the opening of Walmart on Black Friday. Like, if they don't get in first, there's no way they could possibly find anything. So, I mean, it's totally, these beliefs are totally divorced from reality, and it's just unnecessary, but it's funny. It's kind of humorous to watch sometimes the way people act. But yeah, there's more than enough stuff out there. And I always say, I've shown plenty of videos. You could go to estate sale at the end. You could go the second day.
Yes.
And you've got to have some confidence in yourself.
Yes.
Based on your research and based on your knowledge and putting in the work that way, that you could find some stuff and make a challenge for yourself. I love standing out there in line with someone. I did a video like that recently, and I was like dead last. There was just no way I could have got there on time. And a lot of other things I was doing that day. I was going to other sales. I knew the sale wasn't even going to be that great, so that's why I saved it towards the end anyway. It was strategic. And so lady said, well, first of all, a lot of people were just leaving. They were just leaving the line. And she said, she's like, there's just nothing left. There's no way there's anything left in there. No way. Impossible. All the treasures are gone. And I said, all right, great. Game on. That's the challenge. Now go in and find. And I found 5 things. I documented.
That's a real treasure hunt.
Yeah, exactly. That's why that's one reason I call myself the primetime treasure hunter.
That's so good, man. Same thing happened to me, I want to say 2 weeks ago. I'm in line. You get to know other resellers so instantly. They start picking up on your IKEA bag or anything else you have with you. And she goes, these estate auctioneers, she goes, they're ridiculous on their pricing. They don't haggle. She goes, we're probably not going to find anything. You're not going to find anything worth any money. She goes, I'm going to make one quick lap and then I'm going to leave. So I did the same exact thing. I go to the back garage, brand new in the box, Limax, the Spooky Hollow, all the houses in boxes. $20 a pop, and she said that was too rich for her blood. And I was like, those are $225 houses. And she walked out. She walked away from them, and I was like, I'll take them all. Totally fine with me,
Right. Well, it gets to the point that I'm looking in the chat that DC Sells made. It says everyone knows about something, someone else doesn't. That's so true. That's so true. I always say that. I think the last person alive who is attributed to know everything about everything that could possibly be known at the time was Aristotle. And so that was a very, very long time ago. So there's no way, no matter how smart you are, that you can know everything about everything. It's impossible.
So good.
So yeah, so that's
I was
why
like,
you could, if you build up that knowledge base, you just keep increasing the chances you're going to be able to find something everyone else is missing.
Jimmy's saying it right here. Found a $200 model train controller on the last day of an estate sale.
Yeah,
That's so true, man. And that's what I like is this community that I found and discovered is so encouraging. I mean, not everybody. There's going to be some bad apples here and there, but everybody's willing to share info. And that's what I want to talk with you about, Dom.
Yeah.
Your knowledge, and you already attributed it to when you were younger, man. What has got you with the draw, and how have you increased your capacity on sourcing, especially with like comics and collectibles? Like, you started at this kind of area when eBay got better, when you could do more research. How did that expand for you, man? Because I watched one of your best videos, dude, and it's like you went through this, the largest comic book store in the
oh
world?
my God, man. Listen, if people have not watched, and I should say, kind of, I feel bad for plugging it, but really I shouldn't, because it's the proudest thing that I've ever done on YouTube.
Yeah.
There will never be anything prouder than that I ever do. If I make YouTube videos for 50 more years, nothing will ever beat it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that in a bragging way. I'm saying for me personally, it was, you could even see my face is like getting red just talking about it. Like, that's how emotional it is for me. At the end of that video, it's a 9-part series of me going to the world's largest comic book store, Mile High Comics in Denver, Colorado, and meeting the owner, the legendary Chuck Rosansky. I talk about in the video, it's both my own personal journey, and I explain of why that place was so important and why I had to get there. And I think about it afterwards. It's amazing because I got there just before COVID. No one knew. Just before COVID. By the end of that video series, someone actually said to me the other day, they said, I thought I was going to watch that video to learn something about comics. That's why I watched it.
Yeah.
And I did, and I got that. But I also got way more out of it about learning about life. And that's one of the big things about that series. You just learn so much about yourself and about how to be a good person. And it's just a whole big thing. You get into the whole history of the owner and his whole life and everything, how to run a business, lots of lessons that you could apply to reselling. So it's called the Mile High series. It's the pinned video on my channel. And honestly, I don't ever think I'm going to take that off. I mean, I just don't. So,
I wouldn't, man. I think it's up to 67,000 views.
Yeah. So that video, actually, I'll take a step back a minute. So it's kind of interesting because it's one of the things that really drove my passion to even get more into reselling and to kick it up intensely, is because Chuck, the guy who owned Mile High Comics, he has his own channel about his store. And I one day, I was not actively reselling, just here or there sporadically. I was laying on my couch, reading an old comic book, and I saw this double-paged ad from Mile High Comics. They took them out all the time in the 1980s. So I'm looking at it, and I said, this is like 11:30 at night. I'm like, I wonder if that place is still around. I love doing that, like looking up old places and seeing if they still exist. So I type it in, and I see, lo and behold, not only is it still around, the guy's got a YouTube channel. So I click on, I start watching the channels, and I'm blown away. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I'm seeing hundreds of thousands of comic books lining every single aisle. I'm fascinated by it. And I keep watching video after video. He was putting out active videos back in the day. And I said to myself, my God, with my passion for comic books, I said, I would love to have something like that. And I know I never could. I can never get to that level of where he's at, because he's been doing that since he was a kid. But still, it helps set a goal for me, like something to strive for. And that was one of the things that got me really back into, like, saying, wow, I really want to pursue like my own business. I've always wanted to do that, actually, ever since I was a kid working in a family-owned convenience store. I've always thought like that would be cool to run your own business. And so, and then obviously with him integrating YouTube, that gave me another idea. He wasn't the only influence in that, but he was one. So yeah, it's just been slowly building it up ever since I started buying smaller collections. And then just you get the confidence when you get that smaller collection to then go out. If you could flip it well and do well with it, all right, next time I'll go out and get a bigger one. And you just keep trying to expand. And that's what eventually led to the shed video that you referred to, because like you, we had to start moving stuff out of the house and getting it somewhere else. And that enabled me, as you know to now be able to source more. You could get more product because now you have an extra place to put it.
And you've been cranking out some good source videos, man, with mystery boxes, auctions, stuff like that. I love that. What advice would you give to young influential resellers like Jakey here? What Jake does, and
influential. What influence do I have and on who?
No, well, you're easily influenced, Jake. You're easily influenced. Sorry, but for somebody who says, "All right, they're hearing this for the first time," what are two main steps they could do, especially when it comes to maybe comics? That they go, "I'm going to go impulse buy a case of comics."
Yeah.
What are two easy steps for somebody? Because Jake's going to get his notebook. I can see him now. He's getting ready. What would you tell to somebody who wants to impulse buy comics?
Okay, so first of all, what I would tell you is you have to make sure your investment is a safe one. In other words, don't invest money that you can't invest into it. Don't pay a crazy amount. The going rate for a bulk order of comic books, or I shouldn't say order, but a bulk purchase of comic books would be about 10 to 20 cents per issue, would average about 15 cents. Now, it's hard to get that if you're just buying one box of comic books from someone.
How much is one box? When you're talking about bulk, what are we talking?
Well, so it depends. That's going to be relative to everybody. So, for example, a long box of comics would hold about 400 comic books if they're not bagged and boarded. If they are bagged and boarded, that's going to fit about 275.
Mm-hmm.
So someone might consider that like, wow, that's a bulk buy. For me, that's not really a bulk buy. Like I buy them by the thousands. So when you buy them by the thousand, then you could get closer to that 10 cents per issue. The thing is, though, you're going to see people, and this is most people who try to flip comic books, not like us, like resellers, but people who like have collections or they happen to come into them by like an inheritance or something. A lot of times they have no idea what the bulk sell rate is. And so they'll try to sell them for, $1 an issue, $2 an issue, $5 an issue, $10 is like some crazy price. And if you don't know that you really need to get them at 10 to 20 cents a piece, you could really overspend and get pulled on it. So it's hard. It's really hard to find bulk lots of comic books.
But how do you know what's worth it, what's not? I mean, you're buying a bulk of 1,000 comic books. Let's just go on the smaller numbers for me. Let's say 50.
Right.
50 comic books. You spend, let's say, $20, $30 on it. Now, the question is like, you have to research each one and one, but how are you processing over 1,000 comic books in one buy? And what are you, one by one listing, or are you bulk listing? How's it?
Well, there's certain issues that are considered key issues. These are issues where something very, very important happened, and you could actually identify those by going into, I have a link to it on my YouTube channel. I'm not affiliated with them in any financial way, but it's called comicspriceguide.com. And so it's a free membership, you sign up and you type in the issue and it'll literally show like a little key next to it. And it will tell you, hey, this is why this issue is important. And it'll give you a sense of, what the value is. But remember, any value in a price guide about comic books, it's just that. It's just it's just a number someone put out there. If you really want to know what the actual value is, you have to look it up on eBay and see what it actually sold for, because they could be completely off. So for key issues, like single issues like that, I'll give you an example. Star Wars number 42 from the 1970s. Now, that has Boba Fett on the cover with Bosk and Dengar. It's the first full appearance of Yoda, and it's the first appearance of Boba Fett. Now, Boba Fett is obviously very popular right now, especially, he's always popular, but especially now because of the Mandalorian. Now, that's an issue you don't want to really combine with anything else. You want to sell it by itself. Mm-hmm. Now, if you had it in really decent condition, you could easily sell that for about $500. Now, I happen to have a copy around. I just picked it out of a box the other day that I just had. I didn't even know I had it. That's how crazy this is. I didn't even know I had it. I just looked around. I saw it. The cover was actually restapled onto it, and there was tape on the sides of it. Okay, that's really, for most comic books, if you do that, you just made the value zero. But for that comic book, it's a different story because of what it is. I still, in that condition, still sold it the other day for $75.
Nice.
So yeah. But now for books that don't have a lot of individual value like that, like non-keys, in comic book land, we call those run fillers. So, they're basically, people want them to kind of fill a run. Like if there were 100 issues, they might want to buy issues 20 to 30. And so they have that gap, and then they'll go collect the other gap somewhere else. So for most comic books, what you're doing is you're lotting them together according to some kind of theme, and you're flipping them that way. That's what you're normally doing. Now, real quick, in terms of trying to also figure out, in terms of get a sense of what value is, you asked me for a tip on something you should do. There's a whole comic book collector community out there on YouTube that's separate from the reseller community. I've had some of them on my channel. Go check out Comic Tom. Go check out Gem Mint. Go check out Journo's comics. These guys are amazing, and you could learn a ton from them about just what comics are worth, which ones to look out for. They do haul videos just like we do in the reselling community. They'll go out, they'll get a haul, they'll come back, they'll unbox it, and they'll tell you this is valuable, this is not. So you'll get a sense of it that way, and then you'll get an idea of certain themes to look for. And you also get a good idea about condition, because condition is huge with comics.
Yeah. Now you're basically sourcing mainly from estate sales. I mean, where else are you going to be pulling hundreds of comics like that?
Actually, I'm not. Yes and no. So yes, I do primarily source out estate sales, but that's not usually where I source my comic books from. In fact, I've rarely ever found comic books at estate sales. Every once in a while I do, but it's rare. So normally the main way that I get comics, including my most recent comic book unboxing video that I did, is I have an ad that I place locally on Craigslist. It's a big, bold ad, with it almost looks like, you remember the POW from Batman and stuff, like the big letters, it jumps out at you really big. And, it's designed like that to get attention. And it says, I'm looking to buy comic books. And so I tell them, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking to buy in bulk. I'm not going to pay retail pricing. I let them know that up front. I want to see pictures, that kind of stuff. I need details. And every year people send me things, and I look it over and I decide if this is, a good opportunity for me. So a lot of times people are coming to me based on an ad that I put out somewhere. That's usually how it happens. Now, one other thing though, that's important. Social connections are huge. So the local estate sale dealers, they all know, link the name Dominic with comics. And I have them put that in their phone like that, Dominic Comics. So the best ever haul, and I couldn't put it on video, and I'm kind of bummed out about it because it was a private situation, but I basically got called one day from a local estate sale dealer who said, listen, we've got this hoarder house, and we cannot have the estate sale unless we get these comic books out of the house. They're everywhere. Not only comic books, but art too, like comic art, original art, signatures. I filled up the Primetime Treasure Mobile 3 separate times going through that house. It was crazy. My total investment in it was about $1,000. I'm still selling stuff from it, and this was way over a year ago. It was an amazing experience going through that house, but that was through a connection. You got to let people know what you're looking for. Build up that connection. Don't be ashamed to tell them you resell. They know that I resell stuff. They don't care. They just wanted to get the stuff out of the house so they could run the sale. So social connections are huge.
And another thing, you released some good bolo information that I've been telling a lot of people. Craigslist is back, people. It is back. Okay. Somebody was asking me, they said, no, I don't look for anything on Craigslist. I don't do any of this. A lot more people are listing their stuff and checking out Craigslist because of the new Facebook Marketplace algorithm. I don't know if you've looked up a product in your Facebook Marketplace, but it's suggesting Arizona, California, shipping now. Well,
I'm terrified to do any of that stuff here.
Well, the local folks are getting tired of that. They'd rather list on a profile that's going to be in their area code and zip code if they don't want to work with somebody contacting them from another state. I've seen a lot more recent stuff listed on Craigslist again. So be on the lookout, people. I'm telling you, if you want to find sourcing stuff and Facebook is getting a little, there's my buddy Kaiser.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point that you made there, Josh, because, back in the day when Facebook Marketplace, came out, it used to just be right on the bottom of your phone. You just hit it right there and you go to it. Now, it's not even there anymore. You have to go within Facebook to find it, at least on my phone, the way it's set up. And you're right that now when you click on it, it doesn't instantly bring you to all the local deals. You've got all these other places selling stuff, and it's harder to find stuff. So yeah, that would drive more people over to Craigslist. Very good point.
They're trying to find a free page.
Terrified to do that stuff. I mean, here in New York City, to go and source through Craigslist or even Facebook Marketplace to actually do a meetup. I mean, I'm a visiting nurse, so I go into the projects on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But dealing with these guys, and you have to know, like, you want to make sure you don't carry money, or you do carry a certain amount of money to get them away in case they come. So I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about it.
Now, Jake, you meet them in a place where they'll feel guilty if they mess with you.
Well, yeah, that's why a lot of people do meetups at police stations and places that are well lit. Try and do them during the day as much as you can in a public place. I mean, that doesn't necessarily stop everybody, but still.
Yeah, these people aren't afraid of no police stations.
No, I know. Well, New York City is a totally different animal. I mean, I know, like having gone into New York City many, many times as a kid. I know it's not the same as sourcing in Syracuse, New York. It's totally different. So yeah.
We are a different animal.
Yeah, totally. It's not even close.
Also, when it comes to the full-time reseller situation,
we're going to talk about that in a second, Jake.
Oh, we're waiting on it. We're waiting. We haven't gotten there yet. Oh, okay, fine.
But I did want to. You said a very vital thing. I've actually used that link that you have in your videos because it helped me out. I recently they did a yard sale, but they were getting rid of a lot of this lady's deceased brother's like estate, pretty much. And she had 2 cases of comics, and I barely know the Bronze Age, the Gold Age. I barely know that, but I had a bunch of these, and I knew I need to look for key issues. I had G.I. Joe, I had X-Men, mostly 80s, 90s, and when I got there, that link did help me out a ton. I'm just going through, and I'm like, well, I got this. Wait, do I have this number? It's a $20 book.
That's right. That's right.
It'll help you. It'll help you identify why is it special. It tells you in the key. I think it was Storm Shadow Unmasking or something.
Yeah.
It was something pretty cool, but I was just like, it helps you if you don't know a lot. It gives you good general info.
That's right, because like you said, if you have a big run of G.I. Joe comic books and you go onto eBay, you're going to have to type in each one of those individually. Yeah. If you go to comicspriceguide.com, you just type in the title and it'll show you the entire list of all the issues, and then it'll have the value next to it, and you can just scan down and be like, oh, wait a minute, that one's worth $100. Do I have that number? Just like you said. That brings me up to one other thing I forgot to mention in response to something that Jake asked, which is that another way that I find comic book collectors, because they are challenging to get, is when I go to garage sales, I ask, hey, do you have any comic books that's not out here?
Oh, it's like all the other YouTubers asking, oh, do you have any video games?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true though. But and in fact, I actually did a recent video where my wife, Mrs. Primetime, asked me to go out to get something for her on a Facebook Marketplace deal. I show up, right? Nice old guy answers the door, and he says to me, so, is there anything else you're looking for? And I said, yeah, do you have comic books? And he goes, actually, I do. I'm like, wait, no, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, hold on, I'll be right back. It turns out they weren't his. They were his son, so they weren't super old. I'm still waiting for this to find the 80-year-old guy who's going to sell me all his Golden Age comic books. I haven't had that happen yet. I was excited recently because I actually just did a video that I bought a bunch of comics from an 80-year-old woman, which is true, but it turns out that she was a hoarder and just hoarded comic books from like all different ages, and they were not like her collection from when she was a kid. So
we're all really hoarders.
Is ask. I'll ask about 100 times a year, and about 5 times like someone will tell me, yeah, we have them. So you
know where else that's working? Vintage. Well, I say vintage, but the 80s and 90s t-shirts that everybody's going crazy for.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask that because they usually have that in a Goodwill pile inside the house. They don't even bring it out for a yard sale. They don't think you want their grass cutting t-shirt.
They do not. That's the thing. Like the general public does not understand the value of some of the things that they have, and they like you said, they just think it's junk. Another great example of that would be DVD VCR combos.
Yep.
So recently, some lady put up an ad for her DVD VCR combo for $15. We responded to it super fast. We were the first ones, And she's like, sure, come out and get it if you could pick it up within like certain time frame. So I went out there, picked it up. She gave it to me, like $15, whatever. And she looks at me and she says, she goes, who would ever think that so many people would want this? She goes, I've had like 40 to 50 people message me about this. And I'm thinking to myself, well, we know, but
Yeah.
she was like completely had no idea why. But so, yeah.
Well,
I actually I've gone into Goodwill and I've had people over there like, oh, do you know what this is? And they like show me like a charger for a camera, and I'm like, yeah, it charges a camera. Oh, you're so smart. Like even the Goodwill people don't even know.
Yeah,
right. It's true.
Because if they did, then we'd be in trouble.
They'll start asking you if you want to volunteer. Yeah, that's what they do. But in your opinion, okay, and let's say value had nothing to do with it. In your opinion, Dominic, what's your favorite line or series of comics, maybe that you have or that are just out there? And it doesn't even have to be the value. Maybe it's just something that to you personally is like that holy grail.
Well, for me, it's that guy right there. I love the Silver Surfer. That's why he has a prime place behind me.
Yeah.
I used to laugh so hard reading the Silver Surfer comic books, but not only because of that, it's also to me what he represents. What's up, Cat? Cat in the house. He represents the exploration of everything that's out there in outer space. And if you think about how much stuff there is to explore, how much there is to learn, hey, Sylvia, what's going on? I love Sylvia. She's awesome. That just, kind of characterizes just my love of knowledge, as we were talking about earlier. I just love learning stuff. There's so much to explore there. I also, Doctor Who is my favorite favorite TV show of all time. Huge. Grew up with the classic series.
Love it.
I love it. Tom Baker is my favorite doctor, so I've got Doctor Who calendars right up here.
I'm more into the newer series.
See right there. There's the Daleks right there, and there's Tom Baker, best doctor right there. So yeah, there was a Doctor Who comic book series that Marvel put out in the 1980s that I absolutely love. I just found a big stack of them the other day from a local dealer, so I bought all of them. So those bring back a lot of special memories to me. And Amazing Spider-Man and Marvel Tales. I love Spider-Man. That's why I love the Punisher. So that's why I have Amazing Spider-Man 129. So if you're not into comics, if you ever see that book, that's the first appearance of the Punisher, and you would definitely want to pick up that issue. I also read a lot of Swamp Thing from the DC line when I was a kid. So those would be like real special ones for me.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. And what Jake was alluding to earlier, because I like to tell Jake this all the time, I do know he lives in a different part of the States, but
yes.
If you're passionate enough,
he lives about 8 to 9 hours up, by the way.
But it's something. You've been able to travel a little bit? I've seen that in some of your videos and stuff. My first question is, what's the farthest you've gone to go get something to source it?
Not as far as Kat, the nurse flipper. She will definitely travel. Not that I wouldn't want to, but I'm very fortunate. A lot of people who watch my videos, they say, boy, oh boy, like especially people from California, they're like, they're just not deals like that in estate sales by us. Like, so there's a lot of places to source by us, but I did get a call in response to one of my ads, on Craigslist, and the guy contacted me. He said, "Listen, we've been into purchasing storage units for about 2 weeks now." And he said, and we bought this storage unit. Now I actually have this all documented on my channel. If you go on the storage unit unboxings, and he says, me and my wife, we bought this unit and it's just loaded with comics. And he said, I don't know anything about comics. I looked it up on Craigslist. I saw your ad, so I figured I'd contact you. So we talked over the phone right down here in this spot. And turns out though, he was about an hour and a half away from me.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Not that bad, but it was in the middle of nowhere. So a lot of people don't realize this. People here in New York, they all think it's like where Jake is. They think it's all New York City, big buildings and everything like that. Not really, not in central New York. It's not really like that. I mean, we have a small downtown area in Syracuse, but outside of that, it's mostly, there's a lot of farmland, a lot of rural areas. So I'm literally driving down in the wintertime. It's in the middle of nowhere. I'm going down all these windy roads. I don't know where the heck I am. GPS stops working at certain points. I finally get into this small, tiny towns, like a population of like 100 people. I drive down.
Where Cat lives?
Huh?
Is that where Cat lives?
Yeah, I know Kat. Kat said she does live in like kind of like a pretty rural, remote area, so
Oh, yeah.
it's probably like that. But so I drive down this guy's driveway, get in a house, and like he said, I mean they're everywhere. They're just all over the place. So I documented all in the video.
Wow.
I'm nervous. Am I going to be able to get everything in the car? Thank goodness I did. I don't know how I was able to do it. You have to see the video to see what the car looked like. It was crazy. I crammed in every single space. It's a Outback, a Subaru Outback. It just totally, it took the whole load all the way back. I made it one trip, but that was an epic score, and that's the farthest that I've traveled. Yeah,
Well,
but in the future, I would not mind traveling farther out than that.
right, and that'll bring up this other question. You've seen a lot of this YouTube community. You've got to meet a lot of them. You're seeing, Kat down in Florida. I know Chris is down in Louisiana. We got people, Luis, California, stuff like that. If you could uproot everything tomorrow and say, okay, we could totally do this. You're probably at that level now, and you're already doing it. You're crushing it. You're talking about your wife. But where would be the easiest cost of living? Who's influenced you by their community on what they find, and where do they live that you're going, man, if we can move there, we double our income? Because I know you're doing pretty good where you are in New York. But what are some other hot spots for resellers? Because I'm trying to convince Jake to move out of New York City.
Well, Jake, if you want to stay in New York, I mean, actually, I shouldn't bring you over.
I don't want to stay in New York. New York is, everybody's leaving.
Yeah, I don't need it. I actually don't need any. I've got actually a bunch of local they're all great, but bunch of local competition here in the Syracuse area. So, but it is a good place to consider. It's a really low cost of living over here, and there's certain areas that are just rich in collectibles. These are people who that's their passion, man. And like I could go in certain cities, and I just know, like that's it. I know I'm going to make out in this city, in this house. It's just known for it, but. Other areas now, there are some bigger cities with like really rich histories and stuff where you could do well.
Yeah.
I guess probably one of the best examples of this would be the Chicago area where Craigslist Hunter is.
Yeah,
I mean that guy just crushed it. I mean, there's so much history over there, and there's just Chicago and the surrounding areas is so big.
In Chicago, by any chance?
What's that?
You know the politics in Chicago?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not talking about the politics though. I'm talking
about live in Chicago.
Sourcing, Jake.
Yeah, sourcing stuff. Florida, by the way, is also awesome. Now I know that from living
Everybody
there.
lives in Florida. All the resellers live in Florida.
Yeah, I know. But there's so much to go around. I mean, like I said, if I lived in South Florida, I'd be back in that swap shop every weekend, and I guarantee you, I don't care how many resellers are going over there, I'm still going to be able to find stuff because it's just we're talking about miles and miles of stuff that's just out there every weekend all year. So, and that's another thing is that like for now where I am, really the only place you could source physically besides going into a thrift store, and not many people are even doing that because of COVID, is estate sales.
Yeah.
So, but if you live in Florida, I mean, there's could be garage sales all year round, all sorts of sales all the time. That swap shop's open all year. So a warm area is a really nice place to be if you want continuous sourcing like that all year.
And I'd say if you went after antiques and history stuff, probably the eastern North Coast would be really good as well. Some of those cities would do really good.
Yeah, for sure. And there's also a lot of places out west. For example, if you go and watch Wade's Ventures channel and the kind of stuff that he finds out there, over in the Oregon area, he does really well. Noelle Griffith, Farm Girl Scavenger, she does really well out there. I mean, so there's a lot of stuff all over, really. I mean, yeah.
When you're talking, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you're talking about doing well, all right, like. I see numbers. That Harry Tornado puts out. I see numbers that other people put out. Now, obviously, you notice that I'm Jewish.
Yeah. That
takes a big effect. Besides the point that a cost of living here is crazy. That
true.
I would say you would probably need for a typical Jewish family who keeps kosher, who sends their kids to private school and so on. We're talking about between about 110 to 140, closer to 140, where you would be living fine. I mean, those are ginormous for you guys, but
Yeah, well, you hit the nail on the head. It's all relative. So you just mentioned Harry Tornado, who was in the chat earlier. He talks about this on his channel that he lives in South Carolina,
Mhm.
and the cost of living where he is not even anywhere comparable to what you're talking about. Same thing with me. I mean, I think that kind of his situation is somewhat similar to what it is over here, maybe even a little bit better in terms of cost of living. So that's gonna influence everything in terms of what you decide to do with your reselling business for sure.
Right.
Well, also the
Jake-
fact, I mean, I need a Jewish community. I need
Jake,
an area where, yes,
there are
yes.
Jewish communities everywhere besides Staten Island. Okay.
Yeah.
And they all don't cost the same schooling that yours does, and your mortgage won't be the same price as you're paying.
I don't know why I keep plugging Syracuse to Jake, but there is a good Jewish community here in
Right.
the Syracuse area.
I know that there's a Jewish community in Syracuse. I know that.
I tell them all the time. I'm like, because I'm down here in Virginia, so where people, my biggest comments, I love shoes. I go after shoes all the time. And they go, "Oh my gosh, how do you find so many shoes?" I go to my local thrift store, and they're usually less than $6 a pair. So for me, it's a no-brainer. But I can see how other areas, aka, what did we do? We went to Tampa. I can't source shoes in Tampa, not for $25 a pop. But then I did find vintage T-shirts for $2 a shirt.
Well, here's what I always say, because like I said earlier, I have people from California watch me and they say, "Listen, that's great how you do on estate sales there, but it's just not possible where we are." And I believe that. I believe that there's regions that are like that. But I always say, every region of the country has its strengths and weaknesses, and if you've got to figure out in your area, what is it that I could tap into that's good for my business, and what's the stuff I really need to stay away from. For me in my area, although Emily would probably disagree with this because she's done pretty well in thrift stores, but she lives in a different area than I do in Central New York, even though we're both technically in Syracuse. But the thrift stores near me where I am, which are not the one she's going to, are horrible. I've actually taken people into it in one of my videos and said, "This is why I hate sourcing at thrift stores."
Yeah.
And I've defied anyone watching that video to find one thing in that thrift store that's valuable. And to this date, not one person has said they saw anything valuable in the store. And that video has been up for like over a year, 2 years. So it's just it's not good by me. But other places, it's awesome. So that's exactly what I mean.
That's so good, man. And that's the point I've tried to stress to Jay. It's been part of our intervention for him. I'm like, when you get in a different area, you're going to learn what you're good at in that area, because you're going to see what people are probably getting rid of the most, selling the most. Think about South Florida. They're not probably selling a ton of winter jackets, but it's okay. Don't go after winter jackets.
But you know what? I think my biggest fear with moving anywhere, obviously, I mean, career, thank God I am a nurse, so I probably could maneuver anywhere if needed. But I think my biggest fear comes to benefits. I mean, I'm not talking about the pay time off benefits. I'm talking about the health insurance. I'm talking about dental insurance, stuff like that. Like, it's needed, and it's one of the big reasons that I see. I mean, I've spoken with Kat, and she agrees, and that's why she's even if she wants to go part-time, she's not planning to actually leave the nursing career because the benefits, because of that health insurance.
Exactly. Well, that's why I don't leave my full-time job. It would be stupid, really.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, technically I could retire in 10 years. But
how old are you, if I may ask?
How old am I?
Once you say retirement, I'm looking like, okay, how old?
Well, actually, I always like to play a fun game with that. Now, I don't know. Some people might know, but we could have you two guess that, and we could have people in the chat guess, and then I'll tell you the right answer. So if you already know, because we played this game on a prior show.
No, I haven't. No, so
I watched it on the private. I watched it on the other show. So
you know. Okay, I'll have to take a guess. Well, you spoke about your kids. Yeah. You said how they yell at you for selling. They yelled at you, so that has to be a while back.
We got a guess of 43 by Gateway Pickers.
Yeah,
I think I would guess around. I think I would guess around 40.
40, right.
Max 45.
40.
Dom, you notice the rest of the chat that's all convincing Yakov to move?
Yeah, I know. Well, do you want to move, by the way, before I tell my age?
Do I want to move? I do personally. Personally, yes, but I also have a better half that I have to convince, and
Okay.
her
Look at
parents live
that.
here in Staten Island, so it's a little.
We got
All right.
45. We got 40. Nana said, "Go ahead with your bad self." 29
Well,
years old.
I'll tell you what, I do like that, at least the way I'm processing it, is that most people are putting it on the low 40s. But no, I am 45. 45.
Oh, okay.
So I
Boom, cat
technically,
right there.
yeah,
And Julian.
I started my job when I was about 15 years ago, so 30. And if you're 25 years in, you could retire, or you could retire 30 years in.
What do
It's
you
much
do?
better, huh?
What do you do? What's your full time, if I may
Neuro,
ask?
I'm a neuropsychologist.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So,
That's way above. Okay. So now we're analyzing. Now I'm getting nervous.
the funny thing
Now
about
I'm
that
getting nervous.
the funny thing about that, I should tell you a little story about that. So the other day, someone messaged me, and I don't know how we got onto the topic of talking about it. Oh, I know what it was. I saw somebody in my Facebook group that went to my graduate school and studied psychology. And I said, hey, and I knew this person a little bit. And I said, hey, I didn't realize you went there. So we started talking. And she goes, oh, I didn't know you went there either. I said, yeah. She's like, she goes, all this time, she goes, I thought you were a construction worker. So I think that's funny because I mean I do look more like a construction worker than a neuropsychologist. So but it's kind of a funny thing. It's kind of a funny joke.
Yeah.
But,
Now you just got to do your next video with a hard hat and like a tool belt and just walk
that's
around.
right. That's right. And sing YMCA.
I mean, being from New York, I mean, we have the same governor. So, I mean, I'm sure you realize and know why I'm trying to get out of the city specifically.
Well, I have a no politics policy on my
Right.
channel, so I'm not
Oh,
going
okay.
I'm not going anywhere near that one.
I thought everybody hates our mayor. It's
No,
okay.
I
Never
told
said
Jake
the
if he worried
Republicans.
about reselling as much as he did politics, he'd be a millionaire.
Let's just turn this around, Josh. We'll just interview Jake for the rest of the show.
Okay, I'm
Oh,
gone.
dude.
Goodbye, everybody.
So much fun. But no, Dom, I do want to pick your brain, man, because you do a great job having this full-time income, and I know your wife's helping you. I love that, I get to do this with my wife. It's so much fun. But with your YouTube, man, you pump out some great videos, and you're constantly, and a keyword, you're consistently pumping out videos. What was that turning point for you that you said, hey, I'm going to kick this into full gear? Or was it just you found an easier way to edit? What were your tips and tricks to really kicking off YouTube the way you did, man?
Well, it's always been in full gear, really. I mean, as you could probably tell, I'm pretty intense person.
Yeah.
So I'm always been very motivated. And when I decide to do something, I really go at it like 100%. It's kind of like if you watch Parks and Rec, Parks and Rec?
Mm-hmm.
Ron Swanson, he says,
Mm-hmm.
don't half-ass anything, whole ass it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Like it was a joke, like in college with my college friends. Like they would say, "Oh, what are you working out today? You working out your arms? You working out your legs? You working out your shoulders?" And I look at them and go, "I'm working out every part every day." And so that was known as the Dominator workout in college. Everyone laughed. They worked out every body part every day. So I've just always just been intense like that. I have put out almost 800 videos at this point. But it's really more, especially, as time goes on, really trying to find that fine line of putting out content, but also making sure that it's valuable content, stuff that people like, stuff that people would enjoy. Yet at the same time, also experimenting, not being afraid to put out things that you also like. That even though your audience, like, I'll give you an example. Okay. So recently, Mrs. Primetime, I told you she got some jewelry lots. Now I know the guys who watch my channel are not going to like that. But part of what I'm trying to show them is you got to open your mind into some things that are outside of what you like. I'm not a big jewelry person, but I wanted to learn more about it this year. I had a jewelry expert on my show who I interviewed named Jill Maurer. I purchased some jewelry at some garage sales this year, but then, when my wife got really into it, that got me into it some more too. And I decided to feature some of that onto the channel. So doing some of that stuff as well, and not being scared to experiment on new things, new ideas. Things are sometimes going to flop, but then sometimes something will wind up being successful.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So good. And I like that you experimented to also grow a possible new audience as well. there might be somebody who goes, well, I love jewelry, but this
Right.
guy talks about a lot of other stuff that I don't know about.
Right. And that's it's an interesting thing because what we were going back to the comic books, YouTube is very, I would say sometimes very annoying in terms of how they do things because they have certain channels pegged as this is what this channel does. This is what you do. So for example, I told you there's this whole comic book community. Now you could have one of these comic book community YouTubers put out the same exact video that I will put out, like a comic book unboxing, and it's got tons of views. I'll put it up and it will not get that many views because YouTube doesn't look at me as a comic book person. Even though I put out a lot of those videos, they look at me as more of the estate sale guy. So, it could be restricting in that way. And sometimes I think you've got to sometimes fight against that a little bit just to break out of the box they're trying to put you in. Even though it might cost you sometimes in views, you have to also like it. You have to enjoy what you're putting out there. So that's really important.
How long
That's
does
so
it take
true.
you to edit a video these days?
Man, that's a tough question because it really depends on the type of video that I'm putting out. Like, if I just put out like a quick 10-minute video that I did the other day, there's times where I'll just do the video. I'm talking 10 minutes. I get it done the first time that I try, first take. That's over. I process it. By the time I post it, promote it and everything, it's all done in less than an hour. Then there's other things like the one I did today. I did a video called 10 ways to list 10 times faster on eBay. That video, which is only about 21 minutes, took me hours to make, to put that all together. So you'll see why when you go through it. I mean, it was tough. It was tough to do. It's a big time investment, but part of it for me with YouTube, guys, is a challenge because I never did anything like YouTube before. I had experience in public speaking and stuff like that through my own profession. So I thought like that would be something that might segue into this, but it's a totally different ball of wax. It's a totally different thing. And it's been a consistent challenge. In fact, I mean, I appreciate the nice things you say about my channel and stuff, but the reality is that for the number of videos that I've put out, 20,000 subscribers is actually not good.
Right.
I should have way more than it's actually
based on his video count.
Based on a video count, it's actually bad. That's just, again, that's a challenge for me. And that's something I've got to continuously, try to refine and continue to try to learn on.
Are you still in the space of reselling? Is that really, and how many videos do you have out that it's not good to have 20,000?
800. So there's people out there who, they'll have a few hundred videos and they're almost at, 100,000 subscribers.
Right.
So, but there's lots of variables that play into it. I mean, there's your personality. There's a lot of it is personality. I mean, there's your age, there's your own weaknesses that you may or may not be able to overcome when you are doing YouTube. So there's just a lot of things that play into whether or not an audience is going to grab onto your content and kind of run with it. So don't get me wrong, I'm happy with the community that I've built up. My goal was 20,000 subscribers at the end of the year. I'm not trying to be 100,000. Like that was not my goal this year. Right. So I met my goal of where I wanted to be. That's important. Set a goal where you want to get to. Try to hit that.
It's good.
And how long have you been on YouTube?
About 2.5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to convince Jake to just do at least a video a month. So we're almost.
I'm going to a video a week.
But no, what I like though is you have been consistent, man. And I've seen some people. You're exactly right. It's like their 10th video, voila.
Right.
Other people, it's their 1,000th.
I'm expecting to see 100. I'm expecting to see it.
That's an important point you brought up too, because I think that's a thing that make a lot of, especially newer YouTubers in reselling, just quit.
Yeah.
Because it can be frustrating and it can really be something that could really sap your motivation, but you got to remember why you're doing it and do you enjoy it? Are you getting something good out of it? Are you building up a good community? And at a certain point, you are going to always compare at some level, but at the same time, you also got to remember to compare to yourself and compare where you were a year ago.
Good, man.
So like if right now, man, if I was at 1,100 subscribers, and I started the year with 10,000, I'd really seriously have to look at myself and honestly say, like, maybe I just need to stop. Maybe this just isn't the right thing for me. But
Right.
I hit my goal of, like I said, of 20 and, you know, the 20 and
So
a half.
how long did it take you to become monetized?
Well, funny thing about that is that when I started, YouTube had changed the rules like instantly, like about a couple days after I started, they changed the rules in terms of how many you had to have 1,000 subscribers, 10,000 watch hours, and like a certain amount of time. So they had just changed it. It took me probably, I'd say 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
back then.
and Jake, that shouldn't be your focus. Your focus is how long does it take you to put out a video a week?
It's gonna take me. We're gonna try. I told you we're working at it. So far I'm working on my lives. We're doing good with it.
Jake does YouTube like the Monopoly board. He's looking for the card that says just skip to go. Collect $200.
Go collect $200 or
Right.
the free parking. That's what I'm looking for. If
Um,
anybody has the card, let me know.
I want to respect your time, so I got 2 rapid fire things for you. And guys, please in the chat. I think we've had about 34 people in there. Link in the bio to Dominic. He's got great stuff, guys. If you want to learn new product, new info, you explain it so well, man. That's what I've loved. I've been digging into your channel more, just learning, because you have categories that I don't specialize in, man. I love that stuff. But
Thanks,
we'll make this one really short but fun, okay? I'm going to name a YouTube reseller, and you tell me what comic character they would be, okay?
Oh boy.
Oh, you're in for it. That's
These
what
are the
happened.
fun games, and it helps you rapid fire off your brain, okay?
All right.
So we'll go with the easy one. We'll say Cat the Nurse Flipper.
Cat the Nurse Flipper. You know what? I'm gonna have to say Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Oh yeah, to be a mom.
She's amazing. She really has helped me out this year by doing those Shop Goodwill videos and those big bulk hauls that she did like through High Bid. That's actually the video that when I interviewed her where you saw her on my channel.
Yeah.
And we started connecting. That's the video that really influenced my wife to start purchasing Goodwill lots and led to some of those unboxing videos.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay. Craigslist Hunter.
Craigslist Hunter. Let me think about that for a second.
I was going to say Professor X.
Immediately what came to my mind, I'll tell you, if you want to know rapid fire, like what instantly came to my mind was Thor.
Okay. All right.
Because I mean, the guy is he's just the king. I mean, he's like, he's the lord of the reseller space. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, everyone looks up to him, and he's like a role model to not only resellers, but also to, people in the YouTube community as well.
Taylor said Yoda.
He's a little taller than Yoda, and he's not quite that old, so that's the only reason.
All right. Just 2 more quick ones. Matt, part-time pickers.
Now Matt, I actually just commented on one of his Instagrams the other day. I've seen some of his stuff. I actually haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, but
just on physical appearance, we can just go off of that.
I have one for this.
Physical appearance. I'll tell you what. I'll go with Iron Man. I'll go with Tony Stark.
I got the Hulk.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Okay. And then the last one, just because we see him around all the time, and I just want to see your Joey Bada Bing 22.
Oh my goodness, Joey Bada Bing. I love Joey Bada Bing. Let's see.
I was gonna say Nightcrawler.
I gotta think. I don't have an Italian comic book character. That's a problem. You know what? I'm gonna go with. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go with Spider-Man for the Peter Parker reference.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I think that kind of matches.
That's good. That is so good, man. No, that was quick. That was good. You did good rapid fire. We did have a question in here. They said, "Who's on tomorrow night?"
Well, I have a thrift battle event that goes on in my group usually once a month, and it's basically a tournament style, and so it's kind of like almost like a Sweet 16, and then people start getting narrowed down. So tomorrow, the Battle of the Pickers, I've got the Buffalo Picker coming on, and he's taking on the Philly Picker.
Nice.
So yeah,
Nice.
it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's at 9 p.m.
Here it is right here.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Eastern
Chris.
Standard Time. Thanks, Chris. Chris is awesome. And I hope that Kat enjoys the Wonder Woman reference.
Oh, I think so. Any questions that you do have for Jake or myself? Maybe things that have rattled off in your brain. You know, you've been such a great guest, like jumping in the show. Do you have any questions for us?
Well, I where do you guys see this going on YouTube for both of you? Let's say what is your, I say it's important to set goals. Have you set a goal yet for where you want to be on YouTube at the end of 2021? I'll tell you right now, I haven't announced this yet. My goal, I wanted to double where I was last year. I want to double where I am this year. At the end of next year, I want to be at 40,000.
That's a good question, man.
Wow, you need a psychologist to ask that type of question.
Well, no, if you're new to my channel, I am a goals-oriented guy. I'm a 30-day, 90-day, 3-year. Yeah. End of 2021.
Yep.
I want to be above 5,000.
Okay.
I want to be above 5,000. I'm at 630 right now. My full-time job, I don't associate anything I do on YouTube with my full-time job. I don't want to mix platforms in that way. I never want to do that. So a lot of it's been organic, reaching people, connecting with community. So it's been grinding it out, you know, but I've been enjoying it. But where I safely want to be at the level that I do usually about 2 lives and then 2 pre-recorded videos a week. So with my job, now with my wife going full-time, that may increase. I may have more time to edit a little more and do that stuff. So yeah, that's where I want to be. YouTube is at least above 5,000 subs into 2021.
Awesome. All right. What about now? It's on video now. It's on video now, and you said it.
Oh yeah.
So all right. Now, what about you, Jake?
Oh, I have to answer it too.
He thought we were going to let him get away.
Yeah, I thought. I think I could be at definitely around 1,000. Hopefully monetized. I think I would like to see this channel grow as well. I've obviously have a vested interest in the fact that I'm still here as a co-host. So I would like to see that we have a growth within this live to 70, 80, maybe 90 people. At the end of 2021, I would hopefully hit 70 in the live. Totally. And I think my channel specifically, I think I would like to end of 2021 probably monetized with maybe 1,200. And yeah, I'm going strong with that, hopefully.
Listen, it could be really helpful to document and say what you want to do and put it out on video.
Yeah.
That could really help. I actually did that. We spoke about Craigslist Hunter. I actually have a video, and he has one too on his channel with me coming over and visiting his store. Cool. And it was a lot of fun. And one of the things I said, because Craigslist Hunter had he had just recently got the silver button. So he had 100,000 subscribers, and I looked at, and I don't even think I had 10,000 at that point. And I said on film in the video, I pointed to it and I said, I am not, unless I die, I said, I am not stopping until I get to that 100,000 subscriber mark. So I don't know how long it's going to take, but
wait, what are you going to stop after that?
Then once I get that, I'm done. I'm going to stop. But no,
then you get to Cincinnati Pickers level where it's just like, oh, I gained 5,000 more today because I just had a standard video.
Yeah, I know. That is crazy. That must be an amazing thing when stuff like that.
It's like you kick the wheel of momentum, and guess what that wheel does?
Right, but here's the funny thing about that. I keep hearing this. Before I had 10,000, people said, "Oh, when you get 10,000, it just takes off from there." Then when I got to 10,000, people said, "Oh, when you get to 20,000, oh, you're just not gonna believe it." So then I get to 20,000, and Wade tells me, "Hey, man, when you hit 30,000, I'm like, wait, you keep moving the goalposts."
It's like a pyramid scheme.
How many are you looking at?
Totally a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
How many people
making videos?
How many subs do you have usually per day? Let's say. I mean, you obviously grow. Everybody's using the growth. So, assuming.
Some day it could be like 50 to 100 sometimes. I mean, it could there have been days where it's been like it's averaged at 50, sometimes a little lower than that. That is totally dependent on what kind of video content I put out.
So true.
Harry Tornado put something interesting in his Instagram last night. He said it's the title brings you in the viewers and the content
Yes.
to the subscribers.
Yes, I saw that.
So when you could go in your YouTube, look at your analytics. When I put up the video on how to move stale, how to use this little trick with the best offer to get your stale items to move faster. That video got like 20,000 subscribers or something within like a couple weeks. And the number of subs that came in from that was insane. It was like hundreds of people subscribed just because of that one video.
Wow.
But if I put out just like a regular haul video or state sale video, yeah, maybe I'll get like 20, 25 subs from that video. So it really is content dependent.
And he made a good point. I think he covered it in the hour-long video he did, because he was kind of taking you through his like full-time day.
Yeah.
And he actually said that, hey guys, I tried this video. It took a week to get 8,000 views, but let me compare it to the video I did yesterday, which got 18,000 views in 8 hours.
Right.
Which video should I make more of? You know, he was just like, you have to look at it though. You have to pay attention.
It's true.
You really do.
It's true.
But yeah.
It's true.
Please go check out Dom. He's got a great show coming up tomorrow night. He's constantly giving information to this community. And I know everybody in this community, you said it yourself, Dom, not everybody knows everything there is about reselling. But the more we share and the more we're putting this content out there, we're just helping this community do better financially, set goals, change their life, change the economic background of their life, which is so cool. But one last question, because like I said, I want to respect your time, man. You've been doing so great. Thank you so much. I can't say it enough.
My pleasure.
But we ask every single guest.
All right.
If you could put one thing in every single package that goes out, okay? Every single sale. This could be a literal item or a figurative thing, okay? What's one thing that you would put in every single package that when that buyer opens it up, it makes their day better and it makes the world better? What would that be?
Well, you know what? It'd probably be one of those yellow smiley faces.
That's good.
Because I think that naturally makes people laugh. I actually run a medical website. It's funny you mention that, called medfriendly.com. And the actual icon that I have from that is one of the yellow smiley faces. And it has like the doctor's little like band around his head.
Oh, yeah.
So and it has that coming down. So and it always makes me smile when I see it. So I think one of those have a nice day smiley faces is perfect.
I think you're right. They could be having a down day. They're like, would they get a little excited because with the delay in USPS right now, their box shows up. But then when they open and they see a smiley face, it's like it could even be damaged or broken, and they're still like, oh.
That's right.
Better. That's
there
good.
You go.
I like that. Well,
has anyone said that yet?
We did have somebody that said a smile. They weren't that I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah.
No, I like that. But yes, as Nana said right here, Dominic, thank you so much for what you do for so many. Thank you for jumping on this show. Jake, thank you for being an awesome co-host. We hope it treated you well. Dominic, we always want to, show honor to our guests that are on here, man. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It was an honor to come on. I hope to come on again sometime in the future. And I look forward to seeing how both of your channels grow. Thanks a lot, man. And thanks everyone for coming by tonight.
Everybody, have a great one. Be sure to subscribe to these guys. Check out Jake. Check out Dominic. Their links are in the bio. Thanks for hanging out tonight, everybody. Go out there and make the world a better place with a smile and a sale, whatever it takes. Let's keep encouraging everybody. You can do this. All right, everybody? And have a happy holidays, everyone. We'll see you again real soon.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Take care.